Hi, everyone. I'm Mitch Juricich, and welcome to Hooked on the Niners.
And I'm Terrell Jones. We're going to talk about the Niners' convincing win against the Jaguars.
I forgot what we were doing there for a second.
Okay.
I'm Jerry Walker, and we're going to talk about an off weekend, a much-needed, much-appreciated off weekend.
And this week, we bring in a former 49er who was a Super Bowl champion and now is doing wondrous things with Comcast Sports. Dennis Brown is here to join us to bring some levity to this and some class. We have all that and not a darn thing more right here on Hooked on the Niners.
I thought I was...
Hooked on the Niners is supported by the Canyon Inn, 650-369-1646, and on the web at www.canyoninn.com. Bach Construction, 650-344-4844, or on the web at www.bachconstruction.com. Lawson's Wildlife Adventures, 650-504-3400. On the web at www.lawsonwildlifeadventures.com. Tisa's Pepper Jelly, 650-787-2357. And on the web at tisaspepperjelly.com. Check out the Peninsula TV studio with over 2,000 square feet of space in the auditorium of the Samtrans building in San Carlos. One studio, many looks. From a simple talk show to an onstage production, from musical performances to business webcasts, PowerPoint presentations, Skype interviews. With our state-of-the-art control room, we're one mouse click away from going live from our studio to the internet or to Peninsula TV. For more information, call 650-637-1936 or use the Contact Us form at pentv.tv.
Welcome back to Hooked on the Niners, and it's always good to see Dennis. Thanks for stopping by and seeing us and lending some. Now, you're on the smart side of the table. I say that to all of our guests, and you'll figure that in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, the IQ
maybe not even
it went
that
up a
long.
lot, 0 and whatever this is. So.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, it had to go up exponentially there, didn't it? Yeah, it wouldn't take much.
We learned that today.
So it's been a while since they played in England. They're back now, have a bye week. But one of those games that and I'll start with you, it's one of those games where you played on a Super Bowl team. Right. When you're going to go play a team that you know you're better than them, right, you got to do exactly what the Niners did, in my humble opinion. Just jump on them now. Yeah. You know, we fumbled the opening kickoff, and we get that back, and I thought, okay, that might be the ball game right there. We didn't let them in this.
Yeah, it didn't start off well, but I think what the 49ers did, and something that we did, Jerry, you might know it, Ronnie always preached to us, you know, you go out and you punch a team that you're supposed to win, like you're supposed to beat up like this. Yeah. You punch them in the mouth early and you get after them and you let them know, you know, Jackson Jaguars, they're an NFL football team. Right. And they're going to win some football games, but it's important to let a team like that know that it's not going to be against this squad. Right. And we used to always say, don't be the guy. Don't be the guy that shows up and not ready to play in a football game. So, and that's what they did. They punched them in the mouth really early. Offensively, they went down to 5 consecutive drives and they came out with scores. So,
and you know as well as anybody that in the 80s when we were in our heyday, and I used pronouns like we. Okay,
because I did see you out there.
You know what? Snaps. I want you to know I paid part of your salary with my season
ticket money.
And you did,
and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and
so
if you could help me out a little bit more, the door is still open for some salary.
Let's just sit back and let them go.
We have a check here somewhere for you for today.
Yeah, and I'm open for revenue always.
He's not kidding, Mitch.
I know he's not. In the heyday, there was always that one game during the year when we were playing somebody that wasn't good that we did let hang around a little bit, and those things get really, dicey.
Right. Exactly. And that they didn't let that happen.
Yeah,
whether it was
absolutely.
in American soil or over in the UK, they didn't let that happen.
Yeah. And you were on the coaching staff. That's got to be hard. Kind of reminding these guys, this team can beat us. Like Dennis just said, they're an NFL team.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and plus, you're over in London. There's a lot of distractions too, and I thought they did a really good job with keeping everything contained and keeping everybody focused. But like Dennis said, you don't want to go over there and lose to Jacksonville because it's almost like getting in a fight with somebody who's younger and smaller than you are. You have nothing. You have nothing to win. You have nothing to gain from it whatsoever.
Right.
And a team like Jacksonville, I mean, they're a team. They're looking for their first win, so they have nothing really to lose. So they went on. I mean, they can go each game now, and not really having fun, but just kind of playing any kind of way because they just want to win a football game right now. And those teams like that are dangerous. They're very dangerous.
And Coach Harbaugh, you mentioned back in the day, Bill Walsh.
Yeah.
Bill used to find the best possible things he could of the opponent, no matter how obscure they were. They're the best punting team, and they got the best long snapper in the league. Harbaugh does the same thing.
I remember hearing all those things, and I remember telling Mike Schumann, he's going to come out one day and say, man, I was looking at the film. I don't know how we're going to do this. They have the best kick holder I have ever seen.
Whatever.
Well, I guess you have to do those.
You
kinds
have
of
to
things.
because if you let your team believe that you can just show up, that's when you set yourself up for failure. So Coach Harbaugh did a great job of saying, well, they've got some good players. I mean, they've got some good players. Jacksonville, they've got some talented guys there. They just haven't really put it together right now. So I think the Coach Harbaugh did a great job. First thing, he made it as a routine. It was a routine. It was a business trip. They did the same thing. They were out there at practice. They had their curfews. And coaches kind of like these overseas games because the team's together. They're in a hotel. They're getting on the bus. They're going to practice. They're doing their meals. So in a way, coaches kind of like it that way. But now us players, we're in London. We see it. There's a curfew. What? Charles Haley was great about curfew. Whatever. Tim Harris, curfew's great. Here's $200 on my bed. I'm going out. So so the coaches did a really good job of confining. They like it, but this team, really did a good job over in London, I think, as far as they were together. It was almost like a camp atmosphere. And they went out and they showed it, when they played, was it 11 days ago, 12 days ago now? And they methodically went down the field on offense and defense. They shut them down. Third quarter was a little sloppy, but they got after them, and they did exactly what they were supposed to do a team like Jacksonville.
And what came out of this game was, we're hearing now that Kaepernick was hurt in the first game of the season against Green Bay. And if that's true, the people from the 49ers should get a job with the CIA, because that was as clandestine an injury.
He mentioned it a couple of times the last few weeks.
But it's not like
hangnail and
right.
But
he was very active in that offense again. In taking off and running. He's made 2 runs for touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. But that I don't even think Adrian Peterson could have made.
Well, he's got a lot of confidence now.
Yeah, he does.
I think the first week we were kind of fooled a little bit with his passing yards and what he did there. The 2 games after that, I think, kind of punched him in the mouth a little bit. He kind of lost a little confidence. Then all of a sudden, he's got that Vernon Davis synergy right now, and he's getting a little more confident. He's not in the pocket kind of dancing around. When he sees that window, he is gone.
And he is so quick.
And I was going to say, I think also too, they look at their opponents and then they game plan for that. They look, okay, you know what? These guys are not really good against the run defense. So Cap, we're going to run more options. Let's do this. These guys, their pass, defense not that good. We're going to throw the ball just a little bit more. But I mean, you could tell that Kaepernick, his foot was bothering him because, usually he runs a 4.3. I think he ran a 4.4, going for that touchdown. I'm sorry, a 4.3 and a half.
Get him out of here.
That's closer to
And he's mature. He's maturing a lot more. And in the Jacksonville game, you saw that he was getting to the line. He was making some calls, and he was getting the matchups that he needed to kind of run some of those run plays. So he's maturing a little bit. I think he's starting to kind of see what the defense is kind of doing to him. So he's kind of letting it come to him, and he's taking some time, and you can see his maturity. I mean, he's seeing the different defenses, he's seeing the different coverages, and he's working to that. So it's good, on his part, because I think at first he was kind of like, it's all on my shoulders. I got to make these big plays, and now he's starting to see, just take what the defense is giving to you.
But you're right too, because everybody thinks that every quarterback can come up to the line and read the coverages. There's a lot of quarterbacks who can't do that. But Cap is getting really, really good at doing that.
Well, let's remember this. As we're taping this, tomorrow is November 1st, and I think that's the 1-year anniversary of his first start in the NFL. So he's basically at the next game not a rookie anymore. finally. So he's like a second-year guy, even though he's in his third year.
I'm going to go out on a limb.
Yeah.
I'll say he's going to have a career.
You think so? You think
so?
he's going to make it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Nostradamus, you are awesome.
He's a keeper, huh?
Yeah.
What are the lotto numbers for this weekend?
We only bet on sure things. Whatever he predicts and professional wrestling. Those are the only two things that we bet on here. How about this? Frank Gore, I mean, how do you start talking about this guy? All the carries, all the tough yards, inside, a couple of touchdowns. Yep. Kendall Hunter comes in, 3 carries, whizzes right by him with more yards than Frank had. He gets 80-something to 70-something.
Frank, he's the workhorse, and Frank
absolutely
likes being the workhorse. You know, and it was good to see him get a couple touchdowns because a lot of times it's pound with him, and then Kendall Hunter comes in, or Anthony Dixon comes in, LaMichael James comes in and gets the touchdown. But Frank likes that. I mean, he's old school. Yeah. He's a workhorse. He loves running inside the tackles, and if you watch him play, I mean, he plays with such a low center of gravity.
Well, sometimes you can't see him on the TV screen.
There it is.
He goes in and
he'll bounce around in there, and all of a sudden he'll pop out touchdown, or he'll pop out a long run.
Frank Gore's like the stunt man. He goes in there and does all the hard work, and then Kendall Hunter and those guys come in and okay, we're going to do the easy scenes now. You know?
So, and he likes it that way.
Yes, he does.
Because he's old school. He's an old school runner. I mean, he likes running in between the tackles. He likes pounding it. And I think he forgets that. What is this? His 10th season? His 9th season?
10th?
I think he's forgotten that he's 30 years old.
Oh yeah, no.
I hope Frank's watching.
Frank's a good Frank. Frank Gore, John Henry Johnson, Billy Kilmer, and Colin Kaepernick. You know about that? What I'm talking? Where I'm going with that?
No.
First time in 52 years that a quarterback and a running back on the 49ers have both scored 2 touchdowns or more in a game.
Really?
Nice.
Now, where did you take that up? Well, you're the team archivist, of course.
Exactly.
Hey, seriously, for a second. LaMichael James, that's been kind of a story. I guess he tweeted or whatever that social crap is that people do.
Crap. It's a fad. It's
no.
I'm never going to go anywhere.
I'm afraid it's. Well, it ain't ever getting here. I'll tell you that. This is where it stops. He's got to see the field more, and I'm wondering. And I love Kyle Williams. I think this guy is great. But did he just lose his job with a fumble went out of bounds, and then at the end of the half catches a kickoff and goes out of bounds on what? The 1, the 2?
Yeah.
Anthony Dixon had a nice little run.
He had a nice run back too.
Kick was Anthony Dixon.
Yeah.
And he had a really good job. Now, Kendall Hunter, we talk about don't be that guy. He was that guy in London who didn't show up to play. I mean, he really struggled on special teams.
Kyle Williams.
Kyle Williams.
Yeah.
He really struggled.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I mean, I think we're still kind of waiting for him to see what happens with him because he's such a talent. I mean, if he can get in some space in the open field, I mean, he's got the speed to do it, and we're still just kind of waiting to see what he's going to do.
But Dennis, you've been around long enough to see where you've had people who come in who had talent, and you think, okay, this is going to be a great addition.
Right.
Well, all of a sudden, they basically shoot themselves in the foot, and they're on the bench. And this could happen with Kyle Williams. He's got to take this real serious.
I'm worried that it's the problems from a playoff game, a championship game, and an injury. All in the back of his head, whispering to him like, "Be careful, Kyle. Be careful. Don't do this. Don't do that."
Yeah.
You got to forget all that stuff.
Yeah. When you're out there, whatever the sport, when it's time to go, you just got to go. You just got to do it.
Well, it's like when you lose a game. You know, when I first got there, they always said it's 24 hours.
Right.
You can have it for 24 hours, then move on to the next thing. Exactly.
All right, they're giving me the hook here. When we come back, Jerry's brought a little more show and tell as the archivist of the team and what's going to go in the museum there. And we may even talk to Dennis a little bit about albacore. No, that's not the word. Secret word is in here. It has something to do with football. We'll see you right after this. No, it's not albacore.
Hooked on the Niners is supported by California Catering, San Mateo, 650-345-4881. On the web at CaliforniaCateringSanMateo.com. California Catering, South San Francisco, 650-589-0729. On the web at www.california-catering-company.com. California Catering, Emerald Hills, 650-369-4200. On the web at www.cacateringcompany.com. Bay 101 Casino, 408-451-8888. On the web at bay101.com.
Hi, I'm Katie Roletto, and I'm a local professional media producer. Thanks to Penn TV's volunteer program, I was able to expand upon my experience and gain some amazing training in the areas of television production right here in the Bay Area. The staff at Penn TV is very skilled and experienced in all aspects of technical production and really helped me learn and grow. If you're interested in finding out more about Penn TV's volunteer program, please visit them at www.penntv.tv and click on the volunteer tab. Thanks, Penn TV.
Welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. Before we get to Jerry, I just want to, I promised you last week I'd give you some information on how you could win a trip to the Super Bowl in New York. I think that's Super Bowl 48. It's February 2nd at MetLife Stadium. The Niners will probably be in it.
Better be in
Right? Okay, all right. I wanted a little, let me try that again. The Niners will probably be in it.
Yes, they will.
Okay, there we go. Tickets are $100 each. They're only going to sell 300 of these tickets. It includes coach airfare, hotel accommodations for 4 nights, 2 tickets to the Super Bowl, and 2 tickets to the NFL Experience and the Madden Bowl. And the drawing will be on December 2nd. We'll give you these numbers again. If you've got a pencil, 530-582-6277. 530-582-6277. And this is for the Gene Upshaw Memorial Fund. I'm involved with their golf tournament. And you can go to GU, Gene Upshaw, GU63, his number, .org. That's GU63.org. Okay. What do we got there? That one on top is just absolutely fabulous.
We'll hold that one back a second.
Okay, all right.
So I know I shared the gloves on.
Yeah.
But
yeah, okay.
But these are the kind of items we're getting in from people.
Okay.
This is an actual 1961 team poster that was passed out courtesy of Falstaff.
Uh-huh.
You know Falstaff?
Falstaff.
You probably don't know Falstaff.
Falstaff beer.
Yeah.
So
the old pro.
like you said, you used to pay for Dennis. I probably paid for this poster with Falstaff.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
But the 61 team we were just talking before about Billy Kilmer and John Henry Johnson.
Yeah.
So we're getting things like that we hope to display.
Mm-hmm.
This is a pride and joy, and this actually was transported here today in a package. It wasn't out like this.
Right.
But this is the first home program for a pro football team ever at Kezar Stadium.
1946.
1946. It was a preseason game.
Who were they playing?
They're playing the Chicago Rockets.
The Chicago Rockets, not the Chicago Bears.
No, the Chicago Rockets.
Oh, the All-America Conference.
That's right.
Okay, all right.
So September of 1946. Well, you weren't at that game, Mitch?
No, I'm telling you.
Wow. He was selling the
I'm
programs.
telling you. Wow. I'm telling you.
Programs. Get
When this is over, you hold them. All right?
Get your programs and get a hot
That
dog,
is
too.
cool stuff.
How about the back of it? The back's pretty cool, too.
What is that? Oh, booze. Booze. Can't do that anymore.
This program is full of booze and cigarettes.
Right, absolutely. Those are who were the advertisers these days, but you can't do that now.
I was looking at this. Jesse Freitas. You know that name?
No, there's a field at Sarah High School.
He was just at the alumni weekend. Yeah.
Len Eschmont's in here.
Sure.
I mean, there's some great names in here.
Absolutely.
Len Eschmont.
The Len Eschmont Award.
Len Eschmont was
was
one of our awards.
Yeah,
right.
That's the most prestigious award.
Right.
It's
It is.
voted on by the
Ed
teammates.
Block. I was looking at Ed Block. Okay.
Dick Renfro. Some pretty cool names in here.
The thing I've always liked about the Len Eschmont Award is it doesn't always go to like the best player of the team or the most popular. It has to do with heart, determination, maybe somebody coming back from an injury. And one of my favorite 49ers of all time, Paul Hofer, two-time winner. Two-time winner of that.
Young is a monopoly.
Absolutely. Let's talk to Dennis a little bit. We know you're with Comcast now.
Right.
Great career with the 49ers, Super Bowl champion. You know, when you were playing in high school and college, did it turn out the way you wanted?
That's a great question. So
that's why I'm here, Dennis.
When I was in high school, I grew up in Southern California, went to Long Beach Jordan, not Long Beach Poly. When I say Long Beach, everybody says, "Oh, Poly." No, I went to the other school. I went to Jordan.
LBC.
And, there we go. The LBC. So when I was in high school, I never really understood what professional football, college football kind of really was. I come from a really deep religious family. My father was a Baptist minister. My mother or my grandmother was an ordained minister. So my whole focus was on religion and church. And actually, I was in line. I was a junior deacon. I was in line to be a preacher, like my father. So the whole sports thing was something that I kind of went to because when I got to high school, of my size. Now, I didn't play Pop Warner football because I was so big. I went out there once. I weighed too much or something like that. So I never played tackle football until I got to high school, and that was only because the coach was like, "Hey, you Brown, you're coming to play football." And I was like, I played a little flag football and something like that. So I started playing it, and I saw it was something I really liked. The defensive, I didn't like the offensive side. I liked the defensive side because I could hit people.
Right.
So and I really enjoyed that. I don't know what that means, but I enjoyed hitting people. So high school, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that.
So many comments coming right now. So many thoughts.
And University of Washington and SC and all these different schools started saying, hey, we'll give you a scholarship to college to play football. And and I said, I start visiting schools, and I start sort of kind of understanding it. And then I met Don James, the late Don James, and rest in peace. Yes, definitely. And he came to my house, and he told my grandmother that I'll give your grandson a education, and I guarantee he'll be in a bowl game every year. And I was like, what's this bowl game thing about?
Cereal bowls?
Yeah, you're going to give me a bowl of what? What's going to be in this bowl? So, I went up to University of Washington. I went up to University of Washington. And after my junior year, I was, they start talking this professional football thing. And, it's still, at that point, I didn't really understand. I didn't have my mind wrapped around what professional football was. So, the 49ers drafted me and it went from there. So, my whole, football has been my life, and it's given me everything I have in life. But, as a young man, you hear about these guys, I've always wanted to play professional football. I always wanted to be a preacher. And that was my thing, because my father was a preacher. And even when I played professional football, I would tell people, my father was a preacher, but he was a roofer by trade. I would tell people I was a roofer. Because that was as a child, that's what I thought of. I wanted to be a preacher and I wanted to be a roofer because that's what my father did.
Right.
But, football worked out pretty well for me.
Not bad.
And I was lucky enough to play for the greatest team, in the National Football League, and the greatest owner at that time in the National Football League, Eddie DeBarlo. But when I was growing up, that wasn't the thing. Football, I didn't say I want to be a professional football. I hear these guys all the time say, yeah, I want to be a football player since, I was a little tyke. No, I want to be a preacher.
Right.
I want to have a flock, and I wanted to do that.
I'd follow you.
Yeah.
What was your question again?
I know, what was my question? I tend to do this a little bit.
How are you doing? They're giving me the hook again. But before we go, if you still have any of the ministry in you, could you exercise these two guys before just heal them or do
Hey, as long as you don't have a jug of Kool-Aid, we're good.
You're good.
All right, when we come back, we're going to go around the league a little bit, and then we'll talk some more stuff about what's coming up for the Niners in the second half of the season right here on Hooked on the Niners.
I know he's a little shy, but we need to talk. He needs to tell a story about the ice chef.
I saw the two.
Okay.
What, was that 2 minutes? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Hooked on the Niners is supported by Parkside Grill, 650-529-9007. On the web at www.parksidegrill.net. Handlery Hotel, 1-800-995-HUSH. The website is www.handlery.com. Poplar Creek Golf Course, 650-522-4653. And on the web at www.poplarcreekgolf.com. Eddie Perez and Company, 650-363-5904. On the web at www.eperezpainting.com. Armstrong Carpet and Linoleum Company, 415-751-2827. On the web at www.armstrongcarpet.com.
Welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. One of the things I wanted to get back to in London, Eric Davis, who's now on NFL AM, doing a great job there. Sat in his chair. We started him.
Really?
So this is your springboard, pal.
Wow. And we get part of the proceeds.
Yeah, right, exactly. He did a little thing from over there about this food he was eating.
I saw that.
eel in the eel jelly. I thought he was going to upchuck right there on camera.
I saw he took a bite and he was like,
oh yeah, that was.
He was like this.
Yeah, I ain't swallowing it.
Well, London is into the food. I wasn't impressed with the food when we went over there, and this was back.
That's
in
what I hear all the time.
We're gonna get some letters.
Yeah, we are going to get some letters.
Are we? Okay.
That, folks,
Bangers
was
and mash?
Dennis Brown. That was Dennis Brown. Let's go around the league a little bit. I think you got to start in Kansas City. I'm just so tickled for Alex Smith. I was a huge Alex Smith fan. They just held up the 3-minute sign.
Gotcha.
I'm your IFP. Right.
Gotcha.
You got to be happy for that guy.
Happy for him. I hope they can keep it rolling.
Yeah.
I promise you that the sure thing. Not an undefeated season.
No.
But that 8-0 is pretty sweet.
All I wanted was 8 victories out of them because the 3rd round pick that we got for Alex Smith now jumps to a 2.
Right.
So we moved up. Now I don't care.
Right.
They could fall off the face of the earth.
You're not a big Alex fan anymore?
I love Alex Smith. No, I'm just teasing.
I meant for Andy Reid as well.
Yeah,
because he's part of that Bill Walsh tree.
Right.
Yeah.
Who impresses you if we go around the league? What really impresses you? I mean, for me, it's like how is New England doing it?
I don't know how they're doing it.
Right.
I just think when we talk about the Seattle Seahawks, I mean they're just that good.
Yeah.
That they can play ugly and they can come and at the end of the game and they can win a game. But I'm most impressed with I like Alex and what he's doing because I've always been an Alex fan. It's not pretty. We all knew it wasn't pretty here. Maybe that's why he didn't stay here. It's not pretty. He moves the chains. He gives the defense opportunity to make plays because they're rested because he stays on the field. Yep. But 8-0, good for Alex, good for us because our pick goes up.
You talk so much you got the crew yelling at you.
Man, pressure in this show is amazing. This guy's just yelling at me.
He's just telling you. Yeah.
Here's a team I think you should watch out for: the Saints.
Yeah. Oh,
top 10.
Really?
Top 10 in defense.
Oh, God.
Okay, which is almost unheard of for them. And top 10 in offense as well. And Brees those 5 touchdown passes.
And we go play them.
Yeah.
We should mention we will be off next week. We're taking a bye because this. I tell you, I'm worn out.
The stress of this job is just like, wow.
I didn't know it was going to be like this, Jerry.
Yeah, right.
It's like a melting pot.
Yeah, you can probably use a shower after this is over too. But anyhow, so it's going to be a tough second half. That'll be interesting to watch what goes on. 6-2 at the halfway mark. I think we all would have taken that at the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah.
We would have taken that 6-2, and now there's some tough games coming up. So we'll
it's
have
the
to
slingshot effect. I mean, you got the bye, the 5 victories, slingshot.
Can you tell that story quick?
Oh, hurry up.
Not in a minute. He just put a minute up.
Oh,
I'm not getting yelled at anymore.
Well, I'll tell you what. Can you come back? Will you come back?
I can come back, yeah.
Good.
And there's a fantastic story.
Did I just ask him to come back?
You did. And it's a great. This is a story worth coming back. Is that the?
Here's the secret
coming
word.
back?
No. This is the secret word. I just want to let you know.
Cooler.
No, not cooler.
30 seconds.
Wait a minute. Arc was last week, right?
Yeah.
Arc was last week.
Cooler.
Oh, this week the word is fine.
Fine.
Some of the guys in the league get fined.
Get fined.
Yeah.
So
fine, like they have to pay a fine.
Woman?
Yeah,
No.
like
Merton Hanks. Fine.
So nobody won. All right.
Okay.
We'll see you next week right here on Hooked on the Niners, if he lets us out of here.
So the story you missed
Yeah.
is a great story.
Well, he'll come back. Will you come back?
Just yelling at me over here.